intro music.
Freaky door click.
Remember when we used to go, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. I'm Alanna.
I'm Kelsey.
And we love intros.
Yeah.
Aren't they the best? Oh,
Consistency.
consistency.
I mean,
I like having a little phrase.
yeah. And I mean, no guarantees that everybody are repeat listeners. So
Yeah.
introduce ourselves every time.
They might not be able to tell us apart still. I know that happens with some people. They'll be like, the voices sound the same, or even you put on a different podcast and you're like, that sounds like me. Like that happens all the time too. Oh,
Yeah.
I put on one and Pat's like, oh, is that Jason Bateman and Will Arnett? I'm like, no, this is just some guy from like Tennessee or something. He's like, oh.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Voices are hard.
Yeah, I can't ever tell anybody apart. Even on Crimes and Consequences, I can't tell the girls apart at
Might have
all. I
slightly
just sit
different
there.
accents because we're from
Yeah.
originally different places. Although mine is muted out a little over time.
I'm the worst for accents. Unless your accent is so hardcore in your face, I'm not ever going to be able to pick up where you're from.
Right? It can be so hard to distinguish a lot of them. Let's not get started on the ones from the British Isles and South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. I can usually tell British from
I can.
Australia.
One time somebody faked me out because
oh no.
So I was at work and it was insurance and somebody had just moved to Canada and it was on the phone, so he wasn't in front of me, and he was talking about how he had just moved from like London and he had an accent, and then can't remember what it was, but he had only been in London for like a year, so I needed more insurance history. So then I was asking him where he was before that. He said Australia. And yeah, it was the only time in my life I've confused an like Australian accent with a British one, but it was because he had said he had moved from London, and so I like second guessed myself. I was like, I guess so.
You're like, okay, maybe you are British. And he probably, depending how long you've been living there, it could have started to sound a little British.
Yeah, it did not sound very Australian.
Like there's a London accent. I know there's 17 million English accent from all over England, and I've been told by Scottish friends that Scotland's quite a bit like that too, and that Outlander might not be all that accurate. It's a bit of a mashup of accents, perhaps.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I have a fun fact. What do I call this segment? Internet news.
I was just gonna do that. I was just gonna say we need news anchor music.
So sing me in. Just kidding. I have to find it again. Oh, there we go. This.
Hold on. Cat is knocking shit off the counter.
Sort out. Oh yeah, give me that sweet. Swap two adjacent pieces. Sorry.
I don't know what he was doing, but all I need is him knocking dinner plates off the counter, because that's what it sounded like he was trying to do.
Oh, with his thick ass. I would notice when we went over to Caitlin and Grant's that she's got her little black cat Sabrina, and I was like, yeah, she's probably like half or smaller maybe than Gordo's size. Like, Gordo's a big boy.
Yeah, when I took him to the vet and got him officially weighed, he is like 17.1 pounds.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. And he can get up to, his breed for male cats can get up to 25 pounds.
That's
So
thick.
yeah, and be like a normal, healthy body weight for them. So yeah. I don't think I'd be able to pick him up anymore.
Oh
He's
my
ready.
God. I love the way he jumps on the top of that tall part of the cat stand you have, and it just circles around like a glass that you almost tip over, like.
Yeah, I have a 20-pound weight that tries to offset how he jumps on it because my mom's afraid it's going to go through the window.
It's like a jungle cat.
I mean, one day it did fall to the floor.
Oops.
After he jumped on it, it did fall with him on top of it all the way to
Jumping
the floor.
animals that are heavy. Wow, they're the worst. I can't believe our dog can jump up on our bed. Our bed's pretty freaking high. It's up to like my waist.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Fa-dum."
Yeah, Fenrir is pretty funny.
Yeah, that Fen. All right. Well, this one is a fact, a news fact that is also about animals
Oh,
and has the barest trace of tangential connection to my case. I'll tell you after.
okay.
So, okay, I don't know if you've heard this. I had not. I think it came up on, I'm never on Twitter, but I had one for work. So
Yeah, no.
sometimes anyway, Twitter. So Canada recently, I've learned, has had a growing population of wild boars that is getting a little bit out of control.
Okay, just a while. I maybe have heard something about this, just briefly.
Yeah, I had not, and I don't think we would too much in a city, but we'll see. I think our city might even come up. According to the Globe and Mail, by 2001, there were 32,000 wild boars at 500 farms across Canada. I guess for the meat mostly.
Yeah.
And then like the market for the meat dried up. So some of the bad farmers just like let them go.
Oh,
That's good. Oh yeah. Edmonton comes up. Quote, in Edmonton, police pursued a wild boar running through the city. That was one incident. I don't remember that happening. But
no.
if it's like, when COVID or something else is happening, some things just get brushed to the side.
Yes, very true.
Mm-hmm. It's like when 9/11 happened and like, oh, there was crimes that happened other than those, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
people don't pay attention to it
Yeah,
because it doesn't make it in the news.
Yeah. And then to continue the quote, in Manitoba, more than 100 wild boars encroached on the Crocus Grove nudist resort.
God.
Favorite part. That would be terrifying. Running, covering your genitals.
Yeah, don't get gored.
Exactly. They have tusks and shit. And finally, in Ontario near Orilla, I think is how you say it. Like gorilla without the G. So I
I have
guess.
no idea.
Well, so yeah, Orilla. A wild boar terrorized some cottages. So that was the different incidents that they particularly mentioned.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
I'm quite shocked though that the farmers wouldn't just, I guess, like instead of letting them go, why wouldn't they kill them and eat them then?
I know. Why
Maybe
would you ever, get rid of something that you paid for or could use?
Yeah,
Yeah, what a waste. Yeah.
I don't know, weird.
But yeah, we'll get to it a little bit. It's silly. Oh, yeah. Anyway, if you want, we can draw out the suspense more and you can go first.
I probably should. Mine is fairly short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's like normal size for me, maybe a little longer, so that could work. And then
Yeah,
people
mine's
coming back for
shorter
part
than
2.
typical.
Oh, that's okay. We're making it work. They don't all have to
Yeah.
be 2 hours. No.
Right? I'm sure we'll still make it to 2 hours.
Oh, the editing.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Right. Oh, this comes
Uh,
out on Canada Day too. Well, we'll get to it
that's
because I chose a Canadian cult, but happy
Woo!
Canada Day,
Yay!
July 1st. Ours is right before the
Ba-ba-ba.
Americans.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know.
didn't even realize.
That's next week. Exactly, right? It's like, ah.
Yeah, the year's half over
Oh my good Lord.
already.
Good
Uh,
riddance. I mean, it's been great.
yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, nothing too bad's happened to me, so I'm doing
Yeah, I
okay.
do have, yeah, I have a new car, so that's a good thing for the most
Yeah,
part. We did go on a nice trip, and
yeah,
I think we got patrons, and we're doing good. I think we're doing good.
yeah.
Requisite or obligatory Patreon plug.
Yes.
We're recording our next episode of that very soon, actually. So there's going to be some
Yeah.
crazy car crimes.
Yeah, Patreon bonus episode.
Crazy car crimes from castles and cryptids. C.
That's a lot of C's.
All right. The sugar's doing some good. I'm waking up now.
That's good.
Time to bring it down.
Yeah, let's bring it right down. So the cult that I chose to do because we wanted to do some, I guess, creepier cults
That's
and
rad.
stuff, a little more murdery. And
That's what the people come for. I've been told.
a little more murder. I am talking about a fairly well-known cult, but I had never heard of them, but their name came up quite a lot when I was looking up cults.
I wonder if I know them. I know a few. I know the biggins, I think. But there's a lot, surprisingly.
This is the cult of the Hernandez brothers and Magdalena Soleil.
Oh, I don't know from the name if I know that one. It's not like Heaven's Gate or like People's
No, I had
Temple.
never heard of these people, so yeah.
Okay. I'm buckling.
Yeah, I don't really have any pictures. The only picture I have is actually of Magdalena. I couldn't find any pictures of the Hernandez brothers. So the few pictures I did find will be up on the website, but I didn't really post anything to the drive because it's not really anything special.
I mean, that can be good too. It's like with your case from last week where you had like it was pretty recent and there's still like living members of that family. I was like,
Yeah.
I know there's pictures online, but I was like, I don't necessarily want to be the one posting pictures of like the family from like, I don't know. But I just posted a picture of that sippy guy.
Oh, yeah, that
Sippy.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be hard because you're trying to be like so respectful and you don't like people literally could like listen to a podcast about their family member and here you get information wrong. And that's kind of like, I'm always like, ah.
Yeah, we try our best.
We definitely do. I think we're doing a good job because we try our best.
Yeah. We put a lot of time and effort into these episodes.
Yeah. So is this one like a modern one? Okay, I'm excited.
No, it's pretty old. This Hernandez brothers and the Magdalena Soleil. I think it's Soleil or Solis. Is attributed to the murders of several people in the Yerba Buena San Lu.
Is it in Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico.
Okay.
In the early 1960s. So it's pretty old. I think that's why
Okay.
I hadn't heard of them.
I still don't know if I have, like, I don't think so, but
Yeah,
depends what they did.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we start with the Hernandez brothers, who in the late 1962 or early 1963, Santos and Cayetano, Cayetano Hernandez are operating basically as petty scammers. They basically are conning people out of money,
Yeah. As
and
much as they
that's really how
can.
they're getting by.
Yeah. They're not big time, yeah,
No,
thieves.
no.
Mm.
So they basically travel to this isolated community of Yerba Buena, and it was a pretty impoverished area. People didn't really have any money,
Mhm.
and it was described as basically a pretty much illiterate village that only had about 50 residents. And out of these 50 residents, it was basically members of around 20 families.
Okay.
Yeah,
20
other
families.
one source kind of said it was similar to like a farming commune, more so even than a village.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, they kind
Yeah.
of provide for themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All work together. Communes
Yeah.
in theory are lovely, and some people do them well, I hear. You hear people can go for like their, instead of going traveling, backpacking before college or university or whatever, they might go like live on a commune. I think they told us that in when I took the travel program,
Oh, okay.
because it's like, yeah, for some religions especially, like I think, cannot remember at the moment, but maybe like Jewish people go to, like, our
Mm,
typically might go to a Jewish commune or something. So it was something like along those lines.
I
Don't
don't
quote me,
know.
I'll ask my
I'd rather go
cousins.
traveling, go backpacking through Europe. Uh,
Yeah, then live on a hippie commune or something.
I don't want to work in a farmer's field.
Take
No,
cold
thank you.
showers and yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get up at 4 a.m.
Milk no
be
cows.
okay. Yeah.
Looking like a true prairie girl. Just kidding, just kidding.
Uh, so we're talking very extremely small quote village,
Oh,
and most of the people don't read or write anything like that. And these two brothers show up in the 1960s and basically tell all the people living in the village that they're prophets and that they're high priests of, quote, the powerful and exiled Inca gods.
starting to ring some bells. They are prophets, the people coming into the village, or the
Two
village,
brothers are.
the brothers. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from Wikipedia, one of the sources said that, I guess from Wikipedia, it said that the brothers told people, quote, that the Inca gods, in exchange for worship and tributes, would grant them hidden treasures in the caves of the mountains that were surrounding the town. And this is the place where the brothers also performed their rites or rituals. They continued
Okay.
on saying that they would come to claim authority over their ancient kingdom and punish the non-believers.
Great. Who decided that? The smartest of them? We could just feed these people a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll do anything. Oh, that's insane. Obviously, it worked to some degree, or we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, some of them are pretty reluctant. I don't have actual numbers on how much of the 50-person village ever like actually joined the cult.
Yeah.
But
I mean, all it
yeah,
takes
it
is
did
one
have a whole
charismatic person.
strong.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a big difference. So The two brothers, the Hernandez brothers, promised to share the supposed treasure that could be found in the mountains surrounding the town with the different members of the cult. And that's how they started getting their followers.
We will give you some treasure. We don't have treasure yet, but once we find it. Oh, well, the Lagina's got a big group. People love treasure. Oak Island's got that going on in spades. People are like, we want to find it.
Right? I
Yeah.
would love to find treasure.
Oh, totally.
So it is noted that despite the fact that the brothers claiming to be like exiled Inca gods, in Inca mythology, it says that these gods actually inhabited Peru and not Mexico.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, the villagers didn't really know that. I wouldn't have known that.
Who
And
knows exactly where was, yeah, unless you're
yeah,
like an expert in studying that area, you don't know.
especially in the 1960s, you can't like Google that stuff.
Get out your
So
encyclopedia.
they were able to convince quite a few villagers to join them. And the brothers basically formed a large sect or a cult, and they demanded money as well as sexual tributes from the adult members that were both male and female.
Sexual tributes?
Yeah.
Well, that could
So
probably mean a whole plethora of things.
yeah, they participated in drug-fueled orgies, and even well,
Well,
I
that's
guess
great.
that at least is semi-consensual, even though you're basically brainwashing these people. They did end up selling some of the cult members into sexual slavery
Oh
for like
no,
nearby towns.
that's not as cute. I like if they take the drugs of their own accord, then yeah, they're probably down with whatever happened after, but
Yeah.
not being sold into sexual slavery.
No, it's gonna get
Traffic.
real bad.
Yeah, that's
So
trafficking. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's 100% trafficking. The cult ended up running for a few months without any major issues until some of the members of the cult started to grow skeptical of the brothers claiming to be high priests, and as well as their unfulfilled promises of treasure and gold and money.
Right? Where did you hide it when you were a god and ordered all
Right?
those people to hide
Yeah.
it? Like, how do we know? Somebody's starting to get wise.
To combat this, the brothers went to Monterey and nearby in search of sex workers who they could then bring in and join the cult.
Okay.
And yeah, they had a plan for this. We'll talk about it in just a little bit.
Of
So
course, they're
that
going to use people that, yeah, they can find and hopefully manipulate, I guess.
let's just say it backfires hard on them.
Okay.
So this introduces Magdalena Soleil, and her date of birth isn't confirmed. It's most things say they think she was born in 1947 in Tamaulipas, Mexico, and she became known later in her life as the High Priestess of Blood.
Oh my God. Our second high priestess. Well, mine was called the High Priestess of Fraudulent Finance. She wasn't as cool. Blood is much more metal.
Right?
But yeah, I know this is about to get really rough. Oh God.
Right?
Oh no.
So Soleil, she came from a poor family. It's believed it was probably pretty dysfunctional. And at a fairly young age, her brother Eleazar had become her pimp, and she had started working as a sex worker.
Well, I've had my problems with my brother. Love you, but Daniel.
Yeah,
But
right?
we've never had that issue.
No.
Gross.
And according to Murderpedia, they said that Soleil had been forced into sex work at the age of 12, but also that she had a lucrative side hustle as a fortune teller and medium, and claimed that she could channel the spirits of long dead druids.
I mean, I know she can.
No, sorry, long dead brujas. Brujas. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. No, that's still cool. That means witch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was from Murderpedia, though. That was the only thing I ever saw that talked about this, like, fortune teller or medium thing.
Okay. This is
So,
going downhill. It's getting out of
right?
hand.
We've barely begun.
I think I know it, and I think I'm just scared. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna like
Yeah.
snowball. They're already like just being so not responsible, very disrespectful
No.
of these people and religion. They're
Yeah. It's the 60s.
The time of free love.
Yeah.
69.
So 1963, Soleil ends up meeting the Hernandez brothers when they travel like to the town, and she ends up joining their cult at the age of 16, reportedly. Some things said 18, but most things agreed it was 16.
So she's young, dumb, and full of cum. No, she's young, she's dumb. They all are at those ages.
Yeah.
Usually a little bit dumber than we get to be. And then she's been poor, and then it's going to be like all this power and like influence and like money, probably.
It's gonna go to her head hard. It's gonna get bad. So her brother also ends up joining her and the Hernandez brothers, and they all go back to Yarborough. And Soleil was presented to the cult members during a fake ritual that they had that involved a smoke screen. So there's like pyrotechnics and everything that they orchestrated to make her appear like she was coming out of thin air through the smoke screen. And she was introduced as the reincarnation of a goddess named Coatlicue, which was the mother of the gods.
Okay. I was gonna say this is some serious Job shit from Arrested Development. I was rewatching the season 4, I think, and because he's a kind of awful magician. Yeah, he like goes to the church and like, and he's gonna like put himself in a big rock, like he's gonna be resurrected, like Jesus, and then he like gets mixed up and they don't know he's in there. It's all terrible. I'm just picturing with the smoke, all the do. It's fun
every time.
Yeah, his theme music.
And he's just like
made a huge mistake.
Going from like each side of the stage, just like
Tony Wonder comes out anyway.
So the goddess Coatlicue was the mother of gods, and she is the Aztec goddess who gave birth to the moon, stars, and looked up pronunciations. Huitzilopochtli.
Oh, one of those gods with the super long names, like Quetzalcoatl, or
yeah, basically. And that was the god of the war and the sun. And then the goddess, I missed this one looking up. Tosi or Tochi, which was our grandmother, and Siwa Coatl was Snake Woman. So she's like the mother of all of these, the goddesses.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So at this time, the 16 or 18-year-old Soleil developed a pretty serious theological psychosis. that caused her to experience major religiously orientated delusions of grandeur.
As we all do.
Yeah, because
Vomiting
basically she begins.
hormones.
Yeah, she
Sorry.
basically begins to believe that she actually is this goddess reincarnated. It's not
Well,
great.
it's like those pathological liars. You say something often enough, you start to believe it.
Along with this delusion of grandeur that she had about being the goddess, she had quite a few different sexual perversions that they
Oh.
talk about that they don't have a lot of details about, but involved in the cult was consuming blood. There was sadomasochistic tendencies. She had like fetishes for incest and pedophilia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's when
at 16. That's
fetish,
some heavy shit.
yeah, becomes what's the bad one? I don't know. They're not good. It's
A
good.
crime? That's all I can think.
What?
I said a crime.
Exactly. I think I saw a clip of a comedian the other day who was like talking about how like if everything gets so snowflakeified, then people will be like, oh, you won't just say you're a pedophile, you'll be like, I have an addiction to children or something like that. It was just like,
No.
it would be like, oh yeah, I have, I don't know, like a weakness. It was just like it
No.
would be like, oh yeah, I'm not
I
doing
don't
it
like.
justice, but it was like, oh yeah, that's gross. We can't just be like, oh no, kink shaming. You have a fetish for, it's like, no.
Yeah, no.
It's not a fetish, it's like a sickness.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not good.
So soon after joining the cult, Soleil ended up basically taking over complete control of the cult, as well as the members, which included the Hernandez brothers and her own brother. And she now believed herself to actually be the reincarnated goddess.
Her brother, the
So
pimp.
she's now in charge of everybody. She's the number one in the
Oh, good
cult.
Lord. They're like,
And
okay, sure. Maybe you really are. We don't know anymore.
right. So after her takeover, two fed up cult members were tired of the sexual abuse that they faced and they wanted to leave the cult. And Soleil feared that others would soon follow them or that there may be an uprising against her as the cult leader. So she decreed that these two members or former members were heretics and demanded that they be sacrificed.
Okay.
Yeah, and in response, the other cult members ended up lynching these two former cult members.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You thought Scientology was bad when they leave that and then they're allowed to just say whatever and do whatever the fuck they want to harass you. At least they're not
Yeah. It's
mobbing you to
scary. I
death.
don't like Scientology.
Nope. That's a different cult.
Yeah. Oh, awful. So many things. Anyway, so
That's
after these
another
first,
episode.
right, I almost talked about Scientology and I was like, no, that is like too much. I feel like we'd be here for 6 years.
Right. I have listened to a few episodes that I liked about that, but yeah, unless it's like someone, I don't know, that's got some particular insights on it. It's like, because you got that, you can watch the Leah Remini show. There's other,
Yeah, my parents love that
it's
show.
so fascinating. Anywho, sorry.
So after the first two murders, Soleil gradually increased in violence as well as the brutality that she subjected onto the different cult members. So things are getting worse. She started growing bored with the simple drug-fueled orgies. And Yeah, she started demanding human sacrifices and introduced something she called a blood ritual that it basically was sacrificing any members of the cult who questioned her authority.
Oh my God. Like a
Yeah.
dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So these sacrifices would be beaten, burned, they would be cut and mutilated by all the members of the cult, basically before they were left on the ground just bleeding to death.
Okay, there's some
So that's pretty
definite
bad.
similarities in our cases. Great. This is gonna be just dark all the way. Sorry.
Right?
We did the
There's
fun
gonna
ones
be no,
last time.
yeah,
We did
there's no happy end.
no, because well, that's our thing. We usually do the theme, right? But we didn't necessarily pick. We didn't mean to last time. This time it was kind of intentional. But just
Yeah,
last
because
time,
last time we didn't.
no, it just ended up that way. And then we were like, here's our cult episode. It's all cuddly and sort of
Yeah.
benign. But here you go. Here's the crazy ones. Is your cat in the
Gordo.
room?
Yeah, he's scratching his scratching post.
I was gonna say, I hope so, because you just saw something walk by you.
Like, excuse me. So the blood from the sacrifices, quote unquote, was collected collected in a chalice and then for some reason mixed with chicken blood,
Oh,
as well as some narcotics that were mostly marijuana or peyote.
you cut that shit. Get more out of it.
Who doesn't want to drink chicken blood?
Great.
So Soleil would be the first one to drink. And then basically either her brother or the Hernandez brothers were next in line. Kind of goes back and forth. And then like finally it was just all the other cult members. But everybody had to drink. And
Lacey, eat the heart.
yeah, oh, so gross. All I picture is like her face. It's covered in blood.
Yeah, she's trying not to throw up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this was believed like drinking the blood to give them supernatural abilities. And
Sure.
at the end of the ritual, the sacrifice's heart was ripped out of their chest, similar to like Aztec kind of things going on.
All right.
And
Throw back to that episode.
yeah, there was sometimes like they kind of talked about sometimes that like ripping out the heart out of their chest may have happened while they were still alive. Other things don't really say.
They're almost as bad as the Vikings with their blood eagles.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't
like
think we've talked about
brutal.
that yet. Yeah, because they're alive for a lot of that, and they're like rib cages are
Yeah.
broken open and shit. Whoop.
And then they did a similar thing on Hannibal. The one of the first episodes, that guy thinks he's uh an angel or something because he's got like a tumor and he's afraid to die in his sleep, so he kills people, but he makes them into angels who watch over him when he sleeps by basically like cutting
Ew.
wings into their back and then like flaying their skin up so that it makes angel
Great.
wings.
You're definitely gonna get into heaven now, buddy.
Right?
That shit is crazy. Yeah, we were gonna do some more. We just decided to do another lore episode, didn't we? Because we were like, we haven't done
Yeah.
I was like, we haven't done Scandinavian lore since episode 1. It's been a while since we've done any. Not
Yeah.
everybody's got that fucked up shit, but holy cow, humans are crazy.
Yeah. Oh, the weird shit people come up with.
Less
So
torture on our show lately.
yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, so based on the beliefs of Aztec mythology, Soleil what? Oh, so I must have meant to put Soleil and the Hernandez brothers said
Okay.
that blood is the only food that a god could ingest, and that their goddess Soleil would need to drink the blood of the sacrifices in order to preserve her eternal youth.
Okay. She
Mhm.
gotta stay looking good.
Yeah. In May of 1963, 14-year-old Sebastian Guerrero, who was a local from the village, he was wandering around the caves where the cult normally performed their rituals, and he was drawn in by all the lights and noises that were coming from the cave, and he wanted to see what was going on. And he basically stumbled upon the cult members killing and sacrificing somebody,
Oh
but they didn't
no.
see Sebastian at the time,
Oh, I guess that's
which,
good.
yeah,
Sorry. Or they would have killed
um,
him, probably.
yeah, yeah, it wouldn't have been good. Sebastian turned and ended up running more than 25 kilometers or 15 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy, this kid. Oh, basically to the nearest town named Villagrán. And he showed up to the police station because that was the closest one that had a police station,
Yeah.
exhausted. And all he was really able to tell the officers was, quote, group of murderers seized by ecstasy, gathered to drink human blood. And
Oh. Wait,
yeah,
how old was he?
14.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like, he said these words. Forgot he wasn't
Yeah,
like 6.
the police officers basically thought he was making this up, and they
Mm.
started making fun of him.
Oh
They said
no.
that these were, yeah, delusions that could be caused by mental illness or drugs. And the next morning, there was one investigator, Luis Martinez, who was asked to escort Sebastian home. And then on the way, him and Sebastian decided to check out the cave where he had seen the quote vampires.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Don't do that.
So, no, they shouldn't have done it. After the two left, Martinez, the police officer, never returned back to work, and Sebastian was never seen again.
Oh God.
Yeah, he shouldn't have gone back to the cave.
Oh.
Police began to take
Yeah,
the boys' claims more seriously because of their, or yeah, because of these two disappearances. The police started taking it more seriously, and they actually ended up contacting the army for assistance,
Okay.
and which is
Good.
good. They're calling in reinforcements. And on May 31st, 1963, police and soldiers conducted a raid in Yerba Buena and arrested Soleil and her brother Elazar at a farm in town that they were staying at. And they were under the influence of marijuana, like heavily at the time. It said they were basically just surrounded by drugs.
Okay. So they were
Yeah.
stoned.
And Santos Hernandez, one of the brothers, was killed while he was resisting arrest. While you were resisting arrest. And
Damn. Is she gonna go
Cayetano,
down?
Cayetano Hernandez, the other brother, had been killed. I don't know when. It could have been the same day or before. It said that he was killed by a delusional cult member named Jesus Rubio, who said that he wanted a piece of the high priest's body in order to protect himself.
Oh, like to eat
And
it?
I'm not sure,
Ugh.
but I did find something else on Murderpedia. Everything basically said that. And then Murderpedia said that Rubio had learned that the brothers and Soleil were just doing a scam and that he wanted in on it. And when Hernandez refused to kind of cut him into the scam, Rubio murdered him. But that was only ever talked about on Murderpedia. I didn't see it anywhere else.
Yeah. I don't love Murderpedia. I didn't always
Yeah.
find that it had a lot of information on it. And I
No.
don't know if it's taken from other sources. Like it sometimes looks like it's from a few different like articles or news pieces, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, that's always weird when you're like, well, this one source said this crazy
Yeah.
thing or whatever.
One thing.
Yeah.
So when this was all going down at the farm and with the Hernandez brothers, the other cult members had already barricaded themselves inside of the cave, and a bunch of them were killed in shootouts with the police and the soldiers involved.
Damn.
Again, I don't know
Try
how
and
many
fight the
people.
police.
Yeah, like don't barricade yourself inside a fucking cave.
None
Like,
of this was a good idea.
no.
But like it's, yeah, so easy to get caught up in the mob mentality. I think we
hmm
all are fascinated by cults because we think, well, that would never happen to me, but literally so many intelligent people have been part of cults. It's not
And it's not like
stupid
day one
people.
you're thrown into it. It's slowly over
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, they gotta groom you and integrate you and whatever
hmm
else good word is.
So spanning the 6 weeks that the cult um was basically like mainly operating, they had killed at least 4 people,
Mm.
which would be the two that tried to leave the cult, and then Sebastian and Martinez.
The ones that
And
accidentally saw them. The
yeah,
boys. Oh, that's sad.
so they had begun cutting, at this point, they basically had started cutting the hearts from their victims while they were still alive. And
Great.
when investigators arrested Soleil and her brother, they found the dismembered corpses of Sebastian Guerrero and Louis Martinez on or found near the farm where Soleil and her brother were staying. And
Okay.
yeah, Officer Martinez's heart had been removed.
So
They
they
didn't
didn't even try to really hide them that hard
know,
or disassociate it with their own property.
right? They're just on the farm.
Same with the ones
And
I talked about in the spring break crimes. Theirs was on
yeah,
their
that's
farm in Mexico
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Aldolfo,
Damn.
he came up one time when I was looking it up, his stupid fucking mullet face.
Wait,
He's
who?
got a he's got a weird mullet.
This
I was like
you
reading an article about this and it was like learn about other Mexican cults.
oh.
Fuck you, Adolfo.
Oh
Uh,
man.
so yeah, they were found on the farm, and then later searches, the investigators found the mutilated corpses of 6 more people in the cave, and they were believed to be bodies of cult members. Uh,
Or wow.
yeah, I think they were basically most likely just victims of the shootout with police.
Oh yeah.
But again, it seems weird that the cult, when they talk about all these blood sacrifices, only would have killed 4 people then,
Yeah.
right?
If they were going for so long and stuff, for sure.
Yeah. So both the Hernandez, or with both the Hernandez brothers dead, Magdalena Soleil and her brother Elazar now basically were the sole operators of the cult and like solely responsible for what went on. So they were convicted of the murder of 14-year-old Sebastian Guerrero and Officer Martinez, and I believe each of them were sentenced to 50 years in prison.
Oh
And
wow. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that cop got killed with that kid, Martinez.
yeah,
That is crazy. Holy shit.
mhm. So yeah, Soleil and her brother couldn't be convicted of any other murders because any of the remaining cult members that were alive all actually refused to testify against them.
Eye roll. Sorry, that's not great for a
Yeah.
podcast, but that's what I did.
You narrated it. It works. I'll do air quotes. That's what I
Jesus
do.
fucking Christ. Yeah.
So authorities believe Soleil is responsible for at least 8 murders and is involved in as many as 15. I think they're just getting the 8 based on the number of bodies that they found in the cave. But
That
it's,
basically
as I
makes
said,
you a
it's never
serial
really.
killer.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they do coin her as a serial killer. Police or investigators regard her as one of the few documented sexually motivated female serial killers. And yeah.
He definitely was getting some kind of thrill out of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. That's crazy. But yeah, it's like bloodlust, lust, whatever. She wanted everything. She wanted it all.
Yeah, incest, pedophilia.
Oh man,
Yeah,
depraved.
creepy. So they also noted that she was quite organized. She was a visionary and had hedonistic characteristics.
Oh, say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. The remaining members of the cult were sentenced to 30 years in prison for 6 counts of murder in the form of group or gang murder or lynching. And I had never really heard of that before. Their sentences were more lenient, basically due to the fact that they were almost completely illiterate and they were poor when they were brought into the cult. So,
I mean, yeah, I would feel bad about people that were brought into it, not the masterminds that were like,
yeah.
fuck this petty criminal shit. We want to like ramp it up a notch.
Mm-hmm. But they were still each sentenced to 30 years in prison, which is pretty crazy.
Which one was that again?
All the remaining members of the cult, yeah, were each sentenced to 30 years. So, I mean, even though it said it was still lenient, it's still pretty bad.
I mean, it's a whole problem too, right? Is like putting someone in prison that long, gotta reform them, really?
No. So later, some of the cult members actually began giving interviews about the practices and rituals that were performed in the cult. I didn't run across anything that talked about this, but these supposed interviews were brought up a whole bunch of times in almost everything, but I couldn't find them. So,
Okay.
Yeah, Magdalena Soleil, her whereabouts are unknown at this time. Since she was sentenced to prison for 50 years, her release date would have been in 2013. And it's possible because she was like 16 or 18 at the time, she'd be in her, she'd be almost 70 now. So it's possible that she may have gotten additional time for misbehaving while she was in prison. And if she was already released, it's likely she's living in obscurity and she obviously hasn't done any interviews. So people don't really know where she is.
That's crazy.
But there are some reports that say she may have died in prison. So yeah, nobody really knows.
Years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I'm like, maybe they should have kept her up forever in the mental facility. I'm not a psychiatrist, but it sounds like there was some issues there.
Yeah, hopefully if she's out, that like she got help. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. But so that's the Hernandez brothers and Magdalena Soleil's cult.
I mean, it's a lot. It's like pretty intense.
Yeah, it's like weird stuff.
Yeah, it's always got this, cults always have this element of death and extremism, and either the world's going to end or they're a god or some other reason why you have to obey their every freaking word.
That's true.
Damn. There's so many of them out there. Oh, there's a whole podcast just called like cults, actually.
Oh, I have to look that up.
Right? New podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do recommendations. I could literally recommend a new podcast probably every week. Some podcasts do that, and I think it's cute, and I like it when they support other indie podcasts. So yeah, I'll continue to give shout outs if I think of ones that I think you guys might like and whatever.
Yeah. I only listen to a couple podcasts, and I don't listen, like I intentionally avoid listening to ones for my research and stuff too. So
yeah,
I don't run across as many.
I do tend to usually avoid them for research too, but I didn't this time. I did listen to one. It can help me. Like a lot of times I'll maybe have heard a case once on a podcast before, and that's why I want to cover it. I'll be like, wow, that stuck with me. That was so crazy or fascinating or whatever. But yeah, it can help me kind of organize it better, because if I've read a few different articles and shit, and then I've got notes and they're all like in chronological order for each article, but then once you've got 3 articles of notes, then you're all over the place sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it can be nice for me to just like listen to something where they kind of lay it all out in a logical fashion, and then my brain can be like, okay, yeah, they did this and then they did that, and then that's why they did that, and then this one's got a pretty long timeline, kind of like yours did. That was crazy. Good job. Yay.
Thanks. It was interesting to research. Yeah. Yay, cults.
Yay,
let's start a pardon?
Sorry. Yay, they got stopped, those
Yeah.
crazy fuckers.
Yeah. I actually a good like thing. I watched that Netflix one about what's his name? Jeff Warren Jeffs. I always do that. I think his name's Jeff Warren Jeffs and they have a Netflix one called Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. So creepy.
Oh.
Yeah, they just did it. It was
that one.
That's that big commune, the like the offshoot of the Mormons. It was like a polyamorous pedophile gross commune that was raided in 2013, and I remember like watching the news when it was raided and everything, and Oprah Winfrey even did a special right after it was raided, talking to the mothers who were basically just saying they wanted their kids back and stuff. So like I remember it, but I was too young to like really understand what was going on.
Right. Only
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, when you're younger, you don't always, you're like, oh, whatever, that's news, that stuff's just scary.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah. I think it was like a 4-part Netflix special interviewing a lot of the people that lived there and stuff, and even Warren Jeff's like brother and stuff that's left the church. Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
I do love hearing it directly from people that were in it. Yeah, that was so cool when Jericho, the wrestler, Chris Jericho, that has his podcast, Talk is Jericho. It's and then he had a lady on whose her mom got into one cult, and so she kind of was into it for a while because her mom was, and then they were like, oh no, this is terrible. But then like as it turned out, like he was like, oh yeah, that other cult, Nexium or whatever, that one. And then she was like, oh yeah, that's actually funny because my dad actually my mom actually did date Keith Raniere for a while too. She just cult freaking like guys were just attracted to her. She's like, no kidding.
Yeah, or she's attracted to them, more likely.
Right, but I think she said it was more the the other case, and the other guy, she thought she had seen him in a dream, and then she like met him in real life and stuff like that, because she was like, my mom's really intelligent. So it's just crazy, like the things that the life turns on a dime, and you do one thing, and like maybe you meet a cult member guy, or maybe you don't, and your life is totally different.
Yeah, it was the keep sweet, pray and obey is creepy because he's in prison now. Like they figured out he had married like 70 some women personally, like that were his wives, and 26 of them were underage, and he had sex with them multiple times, 26 of them, and he had like audio recordings of them having sex that they used as evidence against him. So he's in prison.
That
He's
does
been in
sound
prison.
familiar.
Yeah.
Gross. I hate it.
He's been in prison for close to 10 years, I think now. But the Netflix special basically ended with he's in prison, and some of his wives still visit him in prison, and they smuggle him in a cell phone, and he basically once a week like delivers an on the phone sermon to everybody in the church because he still runs the church from prison.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so gross.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. Okay, so there's a Netflix special. Okay, go watch that if you guys are interested in that one more, because we're not covering it. But mine,
no, it was good though.
Yeah, I think mine might have a movie too. I looked it up, but haven't watched it or found it anywhere yet quite. So we'll get back. We'll get right to that. We'll be right back after non-messages.
After these non-messages. After absolutely nothing.
Nope.
We'll be back in like 1 second of editing.
Which is funny because some people do that. I've been watching them on their YouTube, and they'll be like, here's an ad. And I'm like, nope, you're on YouTube. I'll just get YouTube ads.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Someday we're going to have sponsors, you guys. So tell your friends, because we just need like, I don't know, 1 million listens per episode or something like that. No, it's like 1,000.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's come forward.
Okay. Yay! Let it punch the desk.
Oh.
Now I can get comfy.
What?
I should have popcorn.
Definitely. Well, you might not want to eat. I could go into some detail.
I would have if I could have found it.
Oh God. Well, we're back.
Yeah.
For some more horror.
I'm scared.
I knew basically nothing about this one. I might have heard one podcast episode on it. Words. And to preface, I don't even know if this is the one I was looking for when I went looking for the cult I was thinking of, because I thought I remembered there being a cult that like was this Canadian cult, this kind of brutal one, but like I also thought I remembered there's something about selling wooden dildos, and that I could never find again, no matter how many times I googled cults.
You didn't think of googling cults wooden dildos
and things. I swear, I don't know if I convoluted it with a different case in my mind. Like I looked to see if it was from Wine and Crime, because they'll do 2 different cases, like we, similar to we do 2 different cases or whatever. So I thought, is it just maybe 2 things I put into
now
one?
that you mention it, I remember, I think it is from Wine and Crime. I think they did talk about it, because for some reason in my head, somebody talking about wooden dildos and, oh my God, I hope they sanded them down so smooth, because And like that's in the back of my brain floating somewhere, and I don't know why we would both have that
These are
in
the
our
parts that
brains.
stick with you. I couldn't confirm it. They did a cults episode, but when I looked at the major ones that the two covered, like Kenyon and Amanda, who do the actual longer cases or the actual
Mhm.
cases, they didn't. It wasn't. It was like Heaven's Gate and that one with that Credonia lady. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
neither of it. So unless they talked about it during the intro where Lucy does her segment, I couldn't. There is something about wooden carving stuff in this, but that's as close as it ever comes to.
Wow.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Listeners, tell us. Are we crazy? Did this exist?
I don't know. After we record this, I might go on incognito mode on my laptop and Google cults wooden dildo.
Right? My search history is fucked, as all podcasters say that do this kind
Yeah.
of true crime and paranormal. All right. So, in honor of our nation's birthday, it being Canada Day when this comes out, I thought retroactively, I'll do a Canadian cult. And again, the wooden dildos, but it didn't come into play. It's much
Aw,
horrible.
they don't come into play.
No, these guys have a kind of cutesy name, but they're not cute at all. They are called the Anthill Kids.
Yeah. I actually, it's perfect timing that you wanted to cover this because I looked and I am like, probably like 6 or 7 Crimes and Consequences episodes away from them covering this case. I
Ooh.
could, after you told me the name of the cult, I was literally a couple days ago in the morning because sometimes I put on their podcast so I don't have to like watch anything when I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
And I could see it. It said the Anthill Kids, and I was like, hey, don't even click in that one. Like, no spoilers.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah, because I looked it up trying to see who the hell I'd heard it covered, and it does look like it'd been covered a few times, and yet it doesn't seem to be that well known at the same time because I didn't know any of the details really. I don't know.
All I can think of is my dad telling me his in like elementary school they did like a thing on like hills where it was basically just Fight Club on top of hills. But
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of violence. So great, buckle up. It's so funny. I just laugh because, uncomfortable laughter. It's like
yeah.
my favorite part of the Kitty's character on that 70s show. She's just like, ah, ha, 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 ha. Anytime she's uncomfortable with something, she does her uncomfortable laugh. Anywho, okay, this is about a man named Rock Terrio. I'm gonna cough.
Terrio.
Terrio. He's French, so it's Rock, Roch. I remember learning about the famous francophone singer Rock Voisine, who's apparently famous in the Canadian francophone community. He's like from Quebec or something.
All I know is Celine Dion.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, she's a national treasure. Right. But they'll spread their wealth around. They're not only in Quebec, you'll see. Rock Terrio was the leader of a very violent cult that was strong in the 70s and 80s, or as I likened it to, sort of like our own Manson family in a way. Yay.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. They're not great. You tell me what you think. Got a little bit of a background on him. He's quite a character, of course. Rock was born in a tiny village near Chicoutimi in 1947. So he's born in Quebec, and his father's name was Hyacinth Terrio.
Okay.
I think sounds like a
Hyacinth.
fairy. But I don't like to make fun of your name. If your name is Hyacinth, it is beautiful sounding, but Very feminine.
Yeah, it sounds like a poison. I assume.
Just like my D&D elf name is Belladonna because it's a poison. Right. Okay. And then his mother was Pierrette Tremblay, and they were a house painter and a homemaker, respectively. And yeah, he like was just kind of brought up in a relatively normal home, raised in Thetford Mines area, and this is a small asbestos mining town about 230 kilometers north of Montreal. I did not change it into miles. I am sorry, but not that sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. And it's, yes, you say Montreal. I find people, Americans say Montreal because they want to pronounce it exactly as it's spelled.
No, yeah.
You ever notice that? No, just me.
I don't notice anything. I'll be like watching a show and somebody will be like, it's a British show. And I'll be like, they have accents?
You notice cinematography stuff. That's what you're watching. You look at that
Yes,
shot.
I will watch a movie in a foreign language and I barely understand the plot if it looks pretty and I like your pastel color palette.
I mean, yeah, I'm like half the
This
time
cinnamon
tuning out.
topography.
Yeah, I'm tuning out all the boring dialogue. Oh, cars go fast, people hit each other. Okay. I watch
Hey,
now.
I love a good action movie too. Don't get me wrong. I just love movies and TV.
I think we went to see one of the Fast and the Furious together when we got those free tickets at work because in the travel department they'd sometimes send us them. Like the Universal Studios would send us free movie tickets to some of their movies. Didn't we go to
It
Fast
wasn't me
7?
because I haven't. No, I'm not up to date on the Fast and the Furious. Although during
Okay.
COVID, I watched the first 5, like
Maybe it
back
was
to back.
Taylor. She went to one with a few of us. Because yes,
We
we
went
went
to
to.
Skyscraper, and
Okay. Yes.
I
We usually go to
uh
Guardians of the Galaxy type movies together.
yeah.
Marvel shit. Oh, I get to watch Doctor Strange tonight after we record. So I better
Ooh.
hurry up. Yeah, apparently we can download it already. Pat Rain already saw it in the theater, so I really need to catch up. Okay, so back to this dark shit. It might have been like some sources or one source. I really only had 2 or 3 sources to be honest, because they had plenty.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, there's like actually I'll just say it now. There's like a book, I believe, called Savage Messiah, and I was like, wow, crazy name.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then it had like, well, I'll mention it later. It's got a subtitle, and then I think it said there was a documentary, maybe. So I was like,
Okay.
I could watch this if I can find it. But other than that, yeah, I haven't. there was thoughts on it, even in just a few sources I looked at. So I think there's just way too much about this out there, maybe.
Ooh. There's too
Um,
much known. Too much is known. Oh god.
oh, anyway, I gotta get into it. It could have been abusive home. I don't know. They said on one source that his dad was part of like a right wing type group, but I'm not too sure of the name. He definitely was kind of weird as a youth. He like dropped out of school after grade 7. Fine, you do you. And he started studying the Old Testament. I don't know. And like somebody said started hating Catholics. I don't know why, but he just loved the Old Testament. So he's got some like it's just a strange passion for a teenager. I don't think his family was religious, right? It's just kind of out of left field.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then he started reading tons of medical manuals and textbooks for like fun and obsessively.
Oh, lovely.
Oh dear. That doesn't bode
Oh.
well.
How very Jack the Ripper of you.
Oh no. He also, oh yeah, he did that. And then he married in 1967 to a Francine Grenier, and they had 2 kids together. His first 2 children, and his behavior started becoming more erratic at this point. His family and friends were noting, and he suffered from some stomach problems from time to time. And at this time, he sold wood carvings to support his family. I couldn't find any
Okay.
details on the carvings though, so
Not dildos.
nothing specifically said that, and almost only one source mentioned it at
Nothing
all.
didn't say that.
Exactly. Oh.
Oh. All I can think of now is how many times do you think you have to search something before it becomes up on like a Google autocomplete? Like
Someone has searched it before.
yeah, oh my
Historical
God.
dildos.
Can enough people that listen to our podcast please Google this guy's name and like wooden dildo carving just so that it auto completes like when you type in his name.
Just Google our podcast.
Okay.
All right. He joined the Seventh-day Adventists in the 70s and began wearing monks' robes.
I've heard of them.
Okay. To join them, you had to give up all tobacco, unhealthy foods, alcohol, or drugs. So I guess he did that for now. He once asked his in-laws if he could open a nudist farm on their property.
And they said, no, we have boars here.
Yes, you got it. That was the stupid reason I read that fact. And because of boar awareness.
Boar awareness. Get a boar horn up the butthole.
Oh my God.
Do boars have horns? Don't even know.
Yeah, like wild ones do, but then even domestic
they have
pigs get so fucking big, and they're like actually quite vicious. They like, if they don't accidentally roll over on their piglets, they might eat them. So you generally keep them away from their own babies. It's pretty crazy.
Nature is wild.
Oh my God. This guy, Rock, was divorced by 1976. And the next year, he made a very unsuccessful bid to lead the local congregation of the Seventh-day Adventists. So he then quits the church and moves to Saint Marie Beauce, Quebec. Because just give up, right?
No, you move somewhere new where nobody knows you and you start your own cult.
He opened a homeopathic clinic and holds like smoking cessation seminars. I just made that a lot of ass sounds, but like quitting smoking seminars.
Oh, okay.
He would talk about it. Quitting smoking is hard. If it worked, I guess go to a cult leader. He wasn't at the time, but you'd practically do anything to quit. It's not easy. As charismatic and charming as he was, he actually had no trouble persuading others to follow him in his pursuit of salvation. He's already starting to get like popular. And he's helping with the seminars for the Seventh-day Adventists, which gave him like a starting point and a pool of people to influence. And so then he basically just starts a commune with a few other men. There was 4 men and 9 women and 4 children that initially came to live with him.
4 men and 9 women. Okay.
Ooh, that reminds me, I have something to put on the drive. I put it in a folder so I could just put it up there.
Oh yeah, you said you had pitch. I'm sitting here just looking at nothing.
Yep. You'll have to go on the drive. The drive. And they're in no particular order, but I'll mention one of them eventually.
Sorry, the first picture I saw was of the Timothy Oliphant and lamb chops guy.
Those are still up there.
And I was like not expecting that to be the first picture.
I love that picture. Oh, I get to post that. I could post that soon because we have that one's coming out this week. Hell yeah. All right. So, okay, and this was when he moved to this location in Quebec, that Sainte Marie de Beauce. It was on the Gaspé Peninsula, which, if you look at a map of Quebec, it's like got the big body part and then the main, and then the land goes off into like this, almost this tail going east, and it actually goes out and connects like over Maine. It's like north, has a border with the state of Maine, and then it connects to New Brunswick. So it's like just so hop, skip, and a jump from where I grew up.
Yeah.
And Stephen King, because of course it's like I just said it, they all have a border, like it's like Quebec, Maine, New Brunswick. And
sorry, I don't see any of the pictures in the drive.
There's is it there a folder, Anthill Kids?
No.
It just says one upload complete. Refresh? Wait. Wait. Where am I? Oh my god. That might be the wrong drive. I think that's
okay.
The picture I'm like looking is at my own Google account.
I've done that all the time. I do that every time. I'm like, oh, wrong. I was like, all I see is Christmas and my pictures.
Oh my god.
And Vegas.
I have to go to the one that says Castles and Cryptids, and it's like literally our old logo.
Yeah.
Oops. Can't not create.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, okay. He's very not attractive. If anyone looks at pictures of this guy, he's got a big old beard and shit.
Yeah.
So they settled down in Quebec, and he called their group the Anthill Kids because of their ability to work hard and tirelessly.
Okay. I mean, ants are supposed to be super strong.
Yeah, strong unit, but also driven to one cause, like to the point of life or death. It is quite apt, actually. Then he gives all his followers biblical names and started calling himself Moses, because why not? Say you're a cult leader without saying you're a cult leader.
Yeah.
He believed that a war between good and evil was imminent. It was nigh. And what would that bring? The apocalypse, of course.
Oh, of course.
And then, yeah, I guess around this time or something, the things started to go south within the Adventist church, and they grew frustrated with Rock and his cult and kicked out the followers from the Adventist church, the Seventh-day Adventist church. And them having been excommunicated so resolutely, the Anthill Kids members wanted to reach out like to their families and stuff like that, but Rock was just like, no, you're not allowed to speak to anybody. Non-communicado.
Okay.
Yeah, he's isolating them. And then even though, previously they had been part of this strict no drinking, no drugs, whatever church, he now begins drinking heavily.
Do all the drugs and all the drinks, kids.
No. Only he's allowed to drink. Everyone else has under
Oh,
strict rules, and I don't think they're allowed to maybe drink at all. They're not allowed to
that's
do
no
a
fun.
lot.
What a boring cult.
It's the 70s. What? Where's the disco? And yes, the
Yeah.
drinks.
Where's the drinks?
Eventually they're like not even allowed to talk or exist in his presence. But no, they're like too afraid to talk. And then he's like spying on them and stuff and just watching their every move. Just fun fact, they supported themselves at this point selling baked goods and pastries, and the company was called the Anthill Kids, when they registered
Okay.
it. So
Is that what this art and craft sign is? Is it like a stop at our booth on the side of the highway for arts and crafts?
They had that, yeah, where you could buy some of that stuff along with your baked goods, because they I don't know if they're trying to present a good image, but yeah, it's like, well, who doesn't like baked goods? Maybe this is just a sound business strategy. Join on Patreon. I will mail you some cookies. I'm really good at making cookies. No. Imagine. Right.
On Grace and Frankie, they're trying to sell their like vibrator, and the sales aren't going good or something. So Frankie, like, I think she gets high or something, and she posted their Instagram that everybody that shares or likes how people do, everybody that likes this video gets entered to whatever, but she tells them they'll get a free dildo, like a free vibrator.
Oh, so they're not selling their used vibrators.
No, it's like their new one that they make. And so for National Donut Day or something, and then because she's trying to make a National Vibrator Day or something, and it ends up there's like 10,000 people that she owes this to, and instead she's like, we can't afford to make them all vibrators. So then she messages them all and is like, we're gonna send you donuts instead. So then she's making like a dozen donuts at a time and trying to mail them, and it's like, no.
That's so like I Love Lucy. I think my brother was telling me that he watched that show too, and definitely seconded the recommendation.
It's so funny.
Guys,
I have 2 seasons left.
Tell us.
Holding it back, yeah.
I need to know all the Netflix things. I watched The Floor is Lava. I think that is good.
Yeah.
It's like an escape room versus, obstacle course, kind of that playground game we all used to play, only when they actually slip and fall, they like go completely under. And it's like, no, it's so dramatic. They're like, oh, and they don't show them coming back up again. It's just like, it's almost like they pretend they're really lost to the lava. And then you just see if anyone from the team of 3 makes it through the actual room to the end. Highly recommend. Okay. Yes, there's a picture on there of the harem of wives that he had.
Oh, okay.
Because he had 8 wives usually and 2 male disciples as his inner circle type thing. But they all look so happy, don't they? Yeah, and I think I said this already. I had it farther down in my notes. He was spying on them. And then if a member was not devout enough, spoke ill of the group, of him, wanted to leave, whatever, they'd be punished, of course, often severely. Yeah, you could be hit with a hammer or a belt. I mean, if I didn't say so already, as is redundant in a true crime podcast, but it's like so trigger warning for this whole episode, this segment is bad. They'd hang or suspend you or pluck out your hairs. You could be defecated on, you know, little amber turd on you. No. You could be made to, this is not funny, break your own or others' legs with a sledgehammer.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, there's lots of details about this one. So you're like, okay, now that people know what happened there, I guess that's why there's a whole book. They were made to eat their own feces and or bugs or dead rodents. Why? I don't know.
Gross.
And he'd like threaten your kids sometimes too, just like apparently holding them over cisterns or maybe wells. I don't know, just like threatening to drop them and stuff.
He's a
Yeah,
psycho.
yeah, yeah. I don't love any of it. And then his like medical fascination comes up too.
I forgot about that. No.
When I heard that detail, I was like, oh, that's a really good detail because like that explains. Anyway, so gross. And one man whose name is Claude, which is my mother's husband's name. Poor Claude. This Claude was forced to put a rubber band around his sack, his testicles, right? Just for funsies, I guess. But then the next day, Rock decided he could operate on his swollen scrotum. Of course, it was swollen.
Yeah.
And then he like cauterized it with a hot iron afterwards. Also, he decided to take a vote to see if they should stone Claude to death, but this one did not pass. Yes, connections.
Okay.
Then this time the people are like, no, you're a little too crazy. We're not, no thanks. Claude did nothing wrong that I could find.
Yeah, this poor man.
Claude just hid in the woods until Rock sobered up. And that would become a very popular option to avoid him and his like rages, I guess. I think one person, I can't remember, or I'm not sure if it was Claude, but had their leg wound filled with salt water and spruce gum. And later I had wives written down, so it must have been Rock's, would be ordered to pluck out his pubic hair. That's creative. Oh God. Uncomfortable laughter.
Oh.
Yeah, Rock Terrio then became convinced the world would end because, oh yeah, he's one of those guys, remember? Violent and crazy.
Just why not?
Oh yes, the world was going to end in 1979. Big old spoiler alert, when it did not, Terrio explained that our world and God's world had different timelines.
Sure.
Like when you fuck up writing the season and you're like, well, that happened because this. Try to make the plot line make sense.
That's why you just don't do specifics. You just say one day the world will end. You don't say the world will end on May whatever this year.
It doesn't even matter. People just, it's like they misinterpreted the Mayan calendar. So I wasn't saying that the world was going to end in 2012. It was the end of one of the ages because they believe in these big ages of time, like, I don't know, 200 years, age of Aquarius, really long. Like, and we're supposed to be entering an age of enlightenment, but I think it was supposed to be a little rough to begin with. The darkest hours before the dawn, hopefully. Okay, so yeah, despite the torture and inaccurate predictions of doom, his followers still worshipped him, and his, wives still like hung off him all the time. They just love him, and he loves them back, and often. He would sire approximately 26 children with those 8 partners. 26 anthill babies.
Oh.
Those poor babies, actually. It's really bad.
That's more than 3 kids per wife.
Yeah. Is it? You did that fast. Oh,
Yeah.
I
Gross.
think one source said 25. It might be a little unclear, but the story's not over. Also, his kids were like not treated well, but the other kids that weren't his kids were apparently treated down lower on his social system, more like slaves. So they were treated pretty bad too. So you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also called him Pappy. And if you got Pappy angry, other members might hold you down so you could be tortured with various tools, everything from like blowtorches to pliers.
Oh my God.
And people lost, quote, limbs, teeth, fingers, and toes to this practice. End quote. I know, it's so uncomfortable. And then I included the picture of the arts and craft because I was like, at this point in the article, they had the smiling group photo of them posed in front of their Anthill Kids Arts and Crafts sign, and it looks like a summer camp.
Yeah, it really does. That's so shitty.
I mean, yeah, it sucks. I was like, damn you. Well, I love summer camp. I don't know if this was sort of like, you said you had heard of like a fight club. They definitely weren't good to the kids. I read that they nailed the children to trees so that rocks could be thrown at them by other people and children, I guess.
Ugh.
So yeah, they probably did have some participation in this. Obviously people were okay. Like they weren't trying to say like, stop, you know what I mean? Like they seem to be going along with whatever these punishments are.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like there's some true crime cases where people get tortured like this, with like the toy box killer one with different things. Like this is just cool,
Yeah.
creative. People were like burned, like I think you had similar burn,
Yeah.
frozen. There was whippings and there was amputations. It's like instead of just killing them outright, sacrifice, like no.
Yeah, this
Like,
is way worse.
suffer. Yeah, so much torture. One of the first detailed incidents we know about now happened in 1981, sort of the beginning of the end of the cult, thank God. It's really bad. So March 1st, 1981, a cult member named Guy Veer beats a 2-year-old boy named Samuel because he won't be quiet. So I don't know if I don't think it was his kid, but whatever, it doesn't matter, really. He apparently wandered off from a mental institution and then joined the Anthill Kids. So that's where that guy came from.
Oh my gosh.
Like fucking
That's
Mike
not
Myers.
good.
The official version that went on like police file, I guess, was that Guy beat the kid by punching him in the face. And then the next day, Samuel, the kid's head was like flopping around, something said. And apparently, I'm sorry, I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can possibly get this over with, like pulling off a band-aid. His penis was also swollen. So they, quote, lanced his penis with scissors disinfected with alcohol, and the child died the next day.
The cult did this?
Yeah, I was gonna say the guy named Guy, which is spelled Guy. So yeah, that cult member in that version was the one who killed him. But like
Gross.
again, it's like this botched like medical. It's like I beat him and
Yeah.
I like tried to do this. Like you can't call it surgery, but like there's like I say like too much. Okay. There's a lot that they try and call surgery and medical procedures that's
Yeah.
just outright mutilation. So there was the other version that comes from the book that I mentioned, and this apparently was told to the book by a woman named Giselle. So this is her version. Oh, and sorry, this book is by Paul Kayla and Ross Laver, and it was Lave, whatever. It was called Savage Messiah, the shocking story of cult leader Rock Terrio and the women who loved him, rather. So I'm sure that's an interesting beach read.
Right.
Book club. Yeah.
Me sitting, waiting for blood work, but reading Mindhunter.
I heard whispers they might be getting a new season. So good.
I'd be so happy.
I'm ready.
All I need in life is the wrap up of whatever weirdness was going on with his partner's kid that murdered that toddler. All I need to know is where they were going with that.
Shit. Subplots? I don't recall. I have a terrible memory. Yeah, I hate it when shows get cut too soon. Damn. Oh, I gotta burp.
Yeah. Especially because that's based on like a true crime case that happened. Like there's like 3 kids under 13 or whatever that did murder like a toddler, and they basically mounted him to like on a cross in a basement of an abandoned house, and that's where he was found. And that's what they did in the show, but it wasn't related to the show, or I guess the story's real life counterparts. It wasn't associated at all, but in the show they decided.
For a second, sorry. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. If we cut out at a weird point, or I didn't quite catch all that, I'm sorry.
But now it'd be exciting to have a new season.
Yes. Hard agree. So, okay, in this other horrific version of this child's death, Giselle said that Samuel was bruised, but basically okay the day after he was attacked by Guy. But Rock Terrio decided he needed to operate on the kid anyway. His fascination with medical stuff, probably. And decided to administer some alcohol to the surgery site and also to, by mouth, for apparent anesthetic purposes, which killed him by alcohol poisoning because he was 2. So that's the other version of how the child died after he was, well, beaten the night before. So it obviously doesn't, they're both bad. He's Bordeaux.
Oh, it's a good name. I'm gonna start calling you that when you get in this mood. Are you Bordeaux? Are you being Bordeaux?
I think Ressa's friend's mom, whose name is Elaine, they call Complain Elaine. Either her friend or her actual boyfriend. I can't remember.
Hi, I'm Alpha. Hi, I'm Gordo. Don't be a dick.
A dick.
You tag me. Oh my god. Stop attacking me.
Hi, face with your cute face. Oh, he wants to play. Cats is attracted to people's working.
Yeah, he's trying to bite me.
Oh, Gordo. Gordo.
Just lay down.
We gotta get this done.
I will chuck you off this desk.
Gordo, I got a couple pages to go. At least.
You look so offended.
Sit down, boy.
Hey,
I'm Yondu. All right, so shit. Okay. We had some technical difficulties. I'm currently having some cat difficulties, but we'll be
kicking him out.
Hopefully so smooth in editing this, you'll never notice.
Gordo has left the room.
All right. So after this horrific death occurred of this very small infant child, this 2-year-old boy, the child's parents heard he was dead and apparently went right back to work, like didn't bat an eye. So that's great. And apparently things were kind of calm for a few months or two after that. At least, excuse me. At least the police weren't all up in there at anything. But then Rock decides that Guy should stand trial for his part in the incident of the child's death. You know, the child that he beat, and then whatever happened, somebody operated on, either way, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just bad. And he suggests that they castrate Guy. Just chop off the boys,
Okay.
Okay.
At least he's an adult.
I mean, it's all levels of crazy. Guy is none too pleased about this prospect, so he kind of, probably fights back against it a little, and so they put it to a vote. This did not pass, but Rock tells Guy that it will also probably cure his headaches. And I
That
guess
sounds like some very put the woman in the asylum, it'll cure her sadness.
her hysteria.
Her hysteria.
No, give her some orgasms for that. That's when they had it right. That'll help everyone. This guy, he had 8 wives and he's still crazy though. So I don't know. It's obviously not enough for some people, or not the answer. Okay, so this is also weird, is that apparently eunuchs were like maybe treated a little better higher up in the caste system of the cult. So I guess that maybe also contributed to his decision to say, sure, you can cut off my balls. And I guess they did that.
Probably because there isn't people aren't like threat to him marrying more of the women and stuff if they're eunuchs.
That's true. Yeah, he's no one to be jealous over. That was in like September, they had said, and by the end of September 29th, Rock was actually charged with criminal negligence for castrating Guy Veer, and also he and 7 others were held accountable for criminal negligence in the death of Samuel. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's a small win. He only got 2 years for that.
Should have been a lot more,
especially in retrospect, because we know that obviously he's going to do other things now. He got out in like 1983, and because he was on the radar now, he'd been ordered to stay away from his followers, but that wouldn't stop him, of course. He paid $12,000 for a 200-acre parcel of land near Burnt River, Ontario, and just moved them there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not going to work forever, So by January of 1985, so a couple of years later, another child would be reported dead. This time, the coroner said that it was SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome.
Okay.
But it was not. The coroner was friends with Rock Terrio and lied about it. Yay.
Oh.
And this child was actually one of Rock's kids, and the mother, Gabrielle, had put him out in a wheelbarrow overnight in what she described as an act of mercy because Rock didn't like him and abused him.
Oh my God.
It's really bad. I mean,
that's terrible.
Yeah, you don't have to be a mother to be like, that's fucking horrific. How could you ever? This was the catalyst, I guess, in my opinion, that began some of the bigger investigations into them. Like, they've moved provinces, but that doesn't mean that they're like gonna be completely off the radar. Come on.
Yeah.
They were seriously watching the compound now, and then by about December 6, 1985, there was a raid with 10 social workers and 6 police officers, and they seized 14 children aged 5 months to 16 years old.
Yeah.
It's a small win again. Many of the children reported sexual and physical abuse to their foster families at the time they were in the cult,
Yes.
obviously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't write down many details about any sexual acts I heard about. I was just like, okay, this is quite enough.
Yeah. We don't really need details on that.
No, this is hard enough because it's dealing with kids. And kids, this is right when I was born, and this is literally okay between 1986. This is like right when me and my sister were born. In 1988, 9 more kids were born to Terrio and his harem, and they were all taken away from him within days. So that was good.
What's the point? Oh my God. What's the point? Stop having kids.
Yeah.
He's now
Yeah,
had
and
what, like 35 kids?
I think 26 while the cult was active, and they haven't shut them down yet. But obviously
Okay.
they're close, right? I don't know
So
why they
that's
can't.
included.
Yeah. There were some different things. I don't know, like they've, had punished him in Quebec already. So it's not like people weren't trying, but damn, it goes on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the another blanket trigger warning, because this is good. September 28th, 1988. Quote, Terrio, they had a great description of this horrific surgery.
Oh God.
Terrio, 41, had spent the morning drinking and picking fights with his worshipful followers. Suddenly, he assumed an eerie calm, and as he had many times in the past, asked whether any of his disciples required medical treatment. Within minutes, 32-year-old Solange Boillard, who complained of stomach problems, lay naked on the wooden table in one of the commune's log cabins. Wearing red velour robes and a gold-colored crown, I think there's a picture of him in the crown, the symbols of his proclaimed role as, cringe, king of the Israelites. Terrio punched Bollard in the stomach, jammed a plastic tube up her rectum, and performed a crude enema with molasses and olive oil. Why? Then
That's like,
yeah.
sorry, that's like Gwyneth Paltrow being like, do a coffee enema.
Oh man,
Do you
yeah.
remember that?
Not specifically, but the general like
Yeah.
woo-woo stuff that goes to, bad, not based in
Terrible.
science or
Her and her exploding vagina
homeopathic.
candle.
Yeah, there's homeopathic stuff, and then there's like dangerous stuff.
Yeah, there's like homeopathic stuff that have been used by Chinese people for 1,000 years.
Exactly.
And then there's goop.
Yeah. I love that when they kind of make fun of that on Modern Family. Like, she seems like a lovely woman, Gwyneth Paltrow, but also no, I'm not gonna buy that or a candle that smells like your vagina or anything. Okay, sorry, this is the rest of that. So yeah, enema with molasses. Also, why molasses? Not maple syrup, I'm sure everyone's thinking. No.
Yeah. Weird.
Okay, but a lot of maple syrup does come out of Quebec. So this is the rest of that horrible quote. Stop your laughing now. No. I can't. I'm sorry. It's just so bad. Then, as she lay silent, he sliced open her abdomen with a freshly sharpened knife and ripped off a piece of her intestines with his bare hands. The operation completed, Theriot ordered another follower, Gabrielle Lavallee, to stitch up the gaping wound with a needle and thread. A day later, Bollard died in almost unimaginable agony, a hapless victim of what police in Ontario and Quebec describe as the most bizarre and violent cult in the history of Canadian crime.
Yeah, just rip out a section of her intestine and then be like, stitch her up. What the fuck?
Right, you might as well at this point be sacrificing people to a fucking god because you're playing God and you just haven't said that. You're just doing it.
So bizarre.
It is. He, like, nobody with any medical knowledge would think this would be successful. We don't know, not with this modern medical knowledge. I mean, yes.
Yeah, not in the 80s.
Yeah, still, we knew this was bizarre. This didn't make any sense. Oh my God. So he had Gabrielle help bury Solange after she died, or was murdered, I should say. But later he had dreams that he was pregnant with Solange inside of his body.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Now he's pregnant.
Pause for confusion. Yeah, he's having dreams and he thinks she's trying to come back. And this was the weirdest phrase that I had to look up, and it was like he believes she's going to be the world's first reverse birth to come back to life out of him or something, as he put it.
Birth. I'm so confused. That's like the opposite of reincarnation. Reverse.
Make it make sense.
I thought your sentence was gonna be he's gonna poop out the baby. Or she's gonna burst out of his stomach, the Thing style.
Oh, any of that would be better. This is straight up, what do they call it? Desecration of a corpse, and just
Yep.
That's really bad juju. It's really not. He's going to accomplish this by digging her up, he thinks, and resurrecting her by drilling a hole into her skull and ejaculating into it. So that's what he does.
What?
He jacks off into it. He's
okay.
Insane. And now reminds me of like Ed Kemper or somebody too.
Only if she was his mom.
Yeah.
Or his mom's best friend. Or a co-ed.
I think his mom was
or
normal.
his grandma. Or his grandpa.
Oh.
Jesus.
So the Gabrielle that helped to bury Solange, poor Solange, would be part of the actual downfall of the cult. Thank fucking God. She had suffered previously untold amounts of abuse at Theriot's hands. She had had blowtorches burn her genitals. She lost 8 teeth and had a hypodermic needle break off in her spine.
Ew. All of that is awful.
Me every time I've had to read it and say it now. She escaped from the commune for I don't know how long, but she went back. Oh, sorry, but I think this was before she escaped, and also is horrible, and I'm sorry for your brain, but she had a prolapsed uterus, I read at one point, which is where it can, sort of like a hernia, falls down where it's not supposed to be, and can almost fall out of your vagina a little bit.
Okay.
Which I've heard of this. Thanks, Outlander. But he apparently tried to punch it back into her. And then this is great too, and I'm sorry, the image is also going to stick with you. He at one point tied a string around the end of it and like a loose tooth just yanked on it.
Oh my God.
Oh
This guy is not a doctor. No.
I hope that's the worst thing I'm ever gonna say. And this stuff is so hard. You don't even want to include it sometimes. It's just a lot. It's too much almost. I'm pretty
Yeah.
desensitized, and that shit is gonna live in my head, man.
Every time I get period cramps, I'm gonna be like, no,
Ugh.
my uterus.
And she was unfortunately so mentally brainwashed at this point by it that she had escaped at one point, at least temporarily, and came back as terrified as she must have been. And when she was back, she was definitely punished. He did not let up. He cut off a finger, then impaled her hand, like nailed it to a table with something. So one source said a knife.
Ugh.
Speaking of Outlander vibes, that's what they fucking did. That sadist did to
Jamie.
fucking Jamie. But then this guy cut off her same arm, other arm, I don't know, with a hunting knife or a dull meat cleaver, depending what source I read.
Oh my God. So now she's lost a finger and the
Yeah,
opposite arm.
I don't know. It was just an unarm, and I was like, is it the same arm as that hand that's now like useless or whatever? So she was terrified to attempt to escape at this point again, I would assume, because she didn't try after that. Yeah. But later he started in on her again, and this time cut off part of her breasts and smashed her skull in with an axe.
Oh my God.
And
He's so crazy.
He's insane. This is just insane. I can't believe anyone else went along with that. And he's not even doing it because he's a god.
If you escaped anything the first time, you had a reason for escaping. Never fucking go back. Like,
right? I don't know how you could live through that torture, but at the same time, I have never been through this, so I don't know what I would do either, I guess, right? But
like even if the real world sucks, and like
yeah,
whatever, you're not being tortured. Like,
exactly. Oh, good, it converted. Okay. So incredibly, she escaped after that, like practically with her head caved in, I assume, and went to the police. So that's amazing. And that helped to really finally lead to their downfall. By 1989, the commune had been completely evacuated and the members were free to go, and most of them did go. And Rock Terrio was tried in Kingston, Ontario, and given a life sentence with no parole. That's good.
yeah.
Fun fact, Kingston area has 6 penitentiaries, so it's like the prison capital of Canada. I had kind of heard that from Ressa.
Jeez.
And the Kingston Penitentiary is supposed to be Soup's haunted, so that could be on our next Haunted AF.
Hopefully somebody haunts him. Haunt the shit out of him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll get to his end here.
Give him a ghost enema.
Oh my God. He was actually placed in protective custody because the other inmates hated and threatened him. No shit.
Just stop with that. Let the inmates kill the fuckers. I'm sorry, but don't waste taxpayer dollars in
Yeah,
protective custody. There's a reason that they want to kill these people because even they hate them. So just let them.
exactly. You know you're bad when.
Mm.
He, quote, expressed remorse for, quote, traumatizing, mutilating, and inflicting suffering of the members of my entourage and putting them through the slavery of that hell, and for the events that led to the premature death of Solange Bollard. It's like, okay, you say
Oh,
that, but
yeah. If you had any remorse, you would have stopped after the first time or not done it at all.
yeah, you read all that Old Testament shit. Is that what you just believe, that you were some real Moses or prophet of God? Like, come on. That's that's such a thin excuse.
Yeah.
Um uh this guy, Robert Penny, executive director of the Kawartha Halliburton Children's Aid Society, rescued 22 of Rock's children to find safe houses for them. Yay. So yeah, I guess eventually most of them got out. And Rock didn't stop having kids with them just because he was in jail. This
Oh
was,
my God, he has conjugal visits. Okay,
and I don't know
so
if it was,
gross.
yeah, wouldn't he have to have been legally married to one of the wives to do that?
I believe so.
Yeah. Somehow he was allowed to have conjugal visits with one of the wives, and 3 of his harem members moved to the Kingston area to be near him and opened up a bakery of their own. um,
It makes
yeah,
no sense. Mm.
maybe they are good bakers. No. So this was Francine Laflamme, which is, there's a news announcer lady on the Canada's Global News or whatever. Lisa Laflamme. Wonder if it's any
Oh,
relation.
okay.
Yeah. So Francine Laflamme, Chantal Labrie, and Nicole Ruel. And Laflamme had a son by Rock from a conjugal visit in and about 1992-ish. And Robert Penny said, the commune lives on. It's an indication of the power of the man. Those women are there for him. Who knows whether he has reformed, end quote. And
I doubt it because he sounds like a psycho.
yeah. And they haven't given up on him, so I guess why would he?
They
Love,
should have after he murdered a 2-year-old or
yeah. Why
like
would you keep
did all
having
this weird
kids?
shit and then covered up the murder of a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and you're the one still having kids with this guy when he's murdering your own children.
I love a man, but he's just chopping people's arms off
Yeah, I have a quote from
because he gets the sad.
that one. It gets this. La Flamme, who had 4 other kids by Terrio, and 2 were taken from her in 85 and 87 because she would not leave Rock, blamed the periods of craziness on his drinking and his bad childhood, apparently. She insists he's not the bad guy people say he is. Quote, people try to make Rock sound like a monster, a butcher, but he is not that. Most of the time, he was not drinking and performing his operations. He was a marvelous man who was full of passion, intelligence, and originality. He loved to laugh and dance.
Everybody go onto our website and look at a picture of this man and imagine him laughing and dancing because I cannot.
Yeah, I know. He looks miserable. And
Oh,
either way, his parents actually didn't want anything to do with him at all. I kind
I
of
would
found
hope
this
not.
funny. Yeah. It said that a reporter for Maclean's magazine was one of the articles I read, which is pretty good. It's kind of like Time. It's actually pretty respected. But anyway, maybe it's Canadian. I don't know. Whatever. The reporter approached the house and was shouted at by Rock's father. That's Hyacinth, if you recall.
Yes.
He yelled, I don't want to talk about him or hear his name. I raised 7 children. Only one of them turned out like that. And he slammed the door.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. So he's like, fuck that. It's like they had 6 other kids, and it's like, okay,
Good
well,
for them.
even if they're, I don't know. I couldn't tell if the house was abusive. And again, it's like, yeah, he seems really defensive. Like, not my fault. He's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Like, get out of here with the people that are like, I don't believe my kid would do that. Meh, 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 meh,
Mm,
meh. When they literally have like on a videotape the kid doing that, and you're like, like,
yeah. I mean,
that's not my Johnny. Like, whatever. No, get out of here.
yeah, and it's
Be
not your
that guy yelling on
fault.
your step, being like, I don't want to hear his name. Fuck him.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not always, it's not always have to do with the parents. Sometimes they're just fucking got a screw loose, for lack of a better term, and I don't care if it's not that politically correct.
Oh,
You'll like this. In 2011, Rock's cellmate went to the guard station, handed them a knife, and said, "That piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife. I've sliced him up." He was dead by that guy's hand at 63 years old.
love it.
Oh, yeah, that's
He's
the
the
end.
best. Perfect way to
Wait.
end it.
Oh, yeah, because
Murder
then,
him.
yeah, exactly. I was like, well, I would hope they're, at least you can't impregnate them anymore. So
Oh my God, he has so
hopefully,
many gross children out
yeah.
there.
No, the poor kids. You gotta feel bad for the kids. They didn't ask for
I
any of that
do.
shit. Oh, yeah.
I feel bad for all the kids that are being raised by the people that still believed in them. Oh,
Yeah, that is the scary part. You're like, are those two, hopefully it dies off with those last 3 women that were apparently the ones most devoted enough to move there and start their own fucking little bakery. And
yeah. Oh, so creepy.
it's a bad one, right?
As we say, thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, you guys, hopefully this all saved correctly, because the cults have cursed our recording tonight. We've had glitches, but
Yeah, we had a few internet connectivity. I've typed in your symptoms and it says you have internet
yeah.
connectivity.
Hopefully no interruptions for you though. Hopefully it was all on our
Yeah.
end, but you always stick with us, so thank you.
Yes, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking through this downer of an episode. I'm gonna be sad and try and go and sleep now,
Right.
thinking or attempting not to think about cults.
No. And the next one?
After I Google
Yeah.
cults wooden dildo. Because I will find out
Can't
why
do
we
it
both have
anymore.
this in our head about somebody manufacturing.
I feel like it could have been them speculating even. I don't know. Anyway, we will have maybe a fun one next time, is what I was thinking, is because our paranormal one, which is usually a little bit more fun, is going to be the vaguely titled, for now, Strange Places theme.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's
Destination unknown.
oh man, there's so many fun ways you can go for that. I think I just cursorily like maybe looked up something because I was like, I know so many crazy places, but what if I just look up strange places? And then you're like, 5 places you're not allowed to go in the world, or like, you stumble across a crazy list. Yeah, and you're like, what? Okay, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. We're looking bizarre phenomena, weird things that go on.
Oh yeah. Man-made or otherwise, I think fits the assignment just fine.
Yes, it does.
All right, stay tuned for that one. And keep it cryptic.
Yeah. Bye-bye. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.